Hello, welcome to part 2 of today's videos. The first part of the video today, or the videos today, I showed you how to make this little holiday wreath. So if you haven't seen that video, then go check it out. It's in the description box below. There is a link to it in there. It is so quick and easy to work up, and I love it, love it. I know it's a bit early for the holiday at the moment, but there we go. Make it early, make some for your friends and family. We're going to move on to making this beauty. This is a cube made from rings. Every side has a ring. You can see one here. I've got it tilted and I've got it just sort of balanced on something so you can see more than one side. We're going to make this cube and it is a cracker. I love it. At the end of the video I show you some uses for it. Other than what the original idea for it was. I kind of had a few little quirky ideas. So this is a cube made out of rings. I have one side not sewn up yet. So each side, this is a curtain ring. Put my teeth back in, this is a curtain ring that I've crocheted around. And I did show you in part 1 how to crochet around rings if you've never done that before. So you might want to check that out if you haven't already. So we crochet around and then we square it up. We make 6 of these and then we make it into a cube. We sew them together, or you could crochet them together. I decided to sew them. And I also show you how to make a ball. You make a ball to put in the centre, and a child would love this as a toy that they can shake around. The ball is just the right size that it will not come through any of these holes, and I show you how to make it in more than one size in case you're using smaller rings or bigger rings. So that just comes to a hole, it doesn't quite come through, which is pretty cool once you've got it all sewn up, and they can shake it and they can have fun with that, and you could put a bell in it or something that makes it rattle. Or you could even put a bell in it. So that's what we're going to make, and I'll show you at the end. I'll show you now actually, just to give you an idea. I'll show you at the end that this actually would make a really funky and quirky crochet hook holder. Yes, it's got an open bottom, so you wouldn't be able to pick it up and carry it because it has an open bottom. But how cool as a crochet hook holder, or even a pen holder. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. So there's lots of uses for it. You could even pop a really tiny thin vase in the middle there and then have some flowers coming out the top. Lots of uses and great fun. So this is what we're going to make, and yeah, I've done mine using curtain rings and cotton, but you can use whatever you like. So grab your hook, yarn and rings and whatever else you desire, and let's get making this, and I'll stop playing with it. I'm going to show you how to make it now. Okay, so our next pattern is making building blocks, and they are going to have a ring at the centre. So I have crocheted around this ring. This was one of my curtain rings. So I've crocheted around there 44 stitches, 44 single crochet around there. Now in the pattern file, a ring from a drinks bottle is used, and I think possibly smaller than this one, and that has 20 single crochet around it. Mine has 44, so it's more than double. So we can't use, or I can't use that pattern for making my ring into a square. We want to make each of these, we're going to make 6 of these, and each one is going to be made into a square, and then that's going to be made into our cube. Okay, so if you know how to turn your circle into a square, brilliant. If you aren't familiar with how to do that, then I'll pop a link in the description box below to the video I made recently on how to turn your circles into squares. And it's all just a little bit of mathematics, okay? Not too much, just a little bit of counting and a little bit of working out what stitches you're going to use and where. Okay, because we need to sort of start with small stitches in the centre and then come out to larger stitches, taller stitches for these parts here. Okay, Not as tricky as it sounds at all, but if you have either 44 stitches or 20 stitches, then you are in luck, because I'm going to tell you how to do it for 44, and the pattern tells you how to do it for 20 for something smaller like this. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do it for 44 stitches. Have a look at the pattern for 20 stitches if you need it smaller, and if it's neither of those and you're not too sure how to do it, have a look at that video that I did recently, or in the group have a look at that file that explains how to do it as well. Okay, so all that aside, let me pop my bits to the side. So all I've done here is simply crochet around the ring, just as I showed you on this one here. So just as I showed you how to work around a ring to crochet, I just did the 44 single crochet, which filled this out nicely, and I made sure that it was 44, or a number that divided by 4, because that's much easier to do your squaring up if it divides by 4, so if you're 4 corners. Okay, so let me show you how I'm going to turn this into a square. Okay, so I'm going to use a different colour. I'm going to use this pink, nice and glary colours. Okay, and I'm going to start with my corner stitch. Now I'm going to make my corners between 2 stitches. Quite often we would do into 1 stitch. I'm going to do double crochet, 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. Quite often we would do that into just 1 stitch, but just to spread it around a little, I'm going to make it in between 2 stitches. Okay, so I'm going to start with a standing double crochet. You could easily start with a chain 3 for your first double crochet, if you wish. And as I said, I'm just showing you how this works for my 44, and it'll give you the idea of how you can square up for any other size. If you haven't seen how to do that before, it will just give you an idea of how we go from taller stitches to shorter. Okay, so I'm going to do a double crochet into my first stitch. So that's my standing double crochet, and then I'm going to do a second double crochet into that same stitch. Let's pull that through, my yarn wanting to split. Okay, so I've got my 2 double crochet, and then I'm going to chain 2, and then, as I said, normally we would do corner stitches all into the same stitch, but I'm just going to come to the next one and do my next 2, just to spread it around a little. Oops. 2 double crochet in there. There we go. Okay, so that's going to be my corner, and I've miscalculated. So, okay, silly me, hadn't miscalculated, just kind of having a bit of a brain block there. Okay, let's continue. So 2 double crochet, then chain 2, and then 2 double crochet in the next stitch. And then I'm going to do a double crochet in the next stitch. And then I'm going to do a half double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So we're going down a size. Okay, oops. Let's try that stitch again. Okay, and then I'm going to do 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. So 1 in each stitch along. So here we go, we're getting to halfway now. So this was these 3 single crochets. 1 was on this side, on this half, 1 was in the middle stitch, and 1 is starting the next side. So we're going to do this in reverse. So we're going to now do 2 half double crochets, and then a double crochet, and then the corner, so 2 double crochet in 1 stitch, chain 2 and 2 double crochet in the next stitch. Oops. Must have a tighter stitch there. Missed a stitch. So you might have a smaller stitch somewhere, just be careful that you don't skip that stitch. Let me go back into that stitch that I nearly missed. Okay, so this is one side. You can see how that's made it nice and straight across the top and coming down for the next side. So let me show you this once more, how I did the side. Okay, so the next side we're going to start with 1 double crochet. And then this yarn is not playing fairly today. It's not playing fairly. Okay, so 1 double crochet and then 2 half double crochets. Okay, this is 1 in each stitch, remember. And then 3 single crochets. And then 2 half double crochets, and a double crochet, and then back to the corner, which is 2 double crochet in 1 stitch, chain 2, or do your stitch again if it's just come undone. It's one of those days. Chain 2 and 2 double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, so we have 2 sides done now. You can see how it's shaping up nicely. So all that's left to do are these other 2 sides, making this corner in the centre, and then slip stitching or invisible joining to your first stitch, and that's it. So that's how you would make your ring square. You just start with smaller stitches in the centre and then getting larger to the outside, and that's it. Nice and simple. So I'm going to finish off this ring and then I'll show you the next stage. There we go, there's my square all finished. So this is ready for one side of the cube. So we need to make 6 more of these in total. Now you can mix up the colours as much as you like. In fact, the more colours the better, the merrier, I reckon. You could leave your side all one colour, so this could have all been red or all been pink. You just change it up as much as you like. Great for getting rid of some scrap yarn. So you need to make 6 of these pieces all together, okay? And then when you've made 6 of those, the other part to do is to make a ball to go inside. So imagine this for a small child as a building block and a kind of toy, a toy as well, that when it's made into a cube, they can shake it and it will have a ball inside that looks like it's almost going to come through this hole, but it won't come through the hole. Okay, it will be trapped inside, and they can shake it and sort of have lots of fun with that. Or you could leave it plain without the ball. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make the ball anyway, in case you want to include that. If you don't want to include it, then by all means just skip forwards to the part where we assemble this and put it all together. Okay, but you will need 6 of these and then the optional ball as well. So let me show you how to make that ball. And it just came to my mind that you might want to see how to make a ball anyway, in case you want to make a ball for something different. So you could make a ball and add it onto a keyring. That would be quite a sort of funky little thing. So if you've seen the Brussels sprout video, you will have seen how to make the ball for the centre of the Brussels sprout. So it's the same thing entirely with that. It's all about how big you make it in the end. Okay, so it's just about how big you make it. So let's start. You can start with a chain 4 and slip stitch to make a ring, or you can start with the magic ring. So I'm going to start with a magic ring today. And I'm not using the cotton for this, I'm just going to use some acrylic to show you this. So when you have your ring, you want to chain 1, which is what I've just done there, and then you want to do 6 single crochets into the ring. 6 single crochets. Okay, pull that tail in and slip stitch to your first stitch to make a circle. So essentially this is like making a flat circle to start with. Okay, so just 6 little single crochet there to start with, and then, as I said, this is like making a flat circle really. So we're going to chain 1 and then we're going to do 2 single crochets into every stitch, making 12 stitches in this round. So 2 single crochet in every stitch. To watch me do this would be a little boring, so I'm going to pause the video and see you when I've done all 12. So there's my 12 single crochet, and I've slip stitched into the first stitch to finish that round off. Okay, so next round we're going to increase again. We're going to take this up to 18 stitches, so chain 1 and then 2 single crochet in that first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then repeat that around, 2 single crochet and then 1 single crochet. Okay, 2 and then 1, 2 then 1, all the way around for 18 stitches. And slip stitch to your first stitch to close that round. Now this is the size that's in the pattern. Okay, this is the size that's in the file. Now when we think that the size of ring in the pattern is this, okay, which would be like this one, so the centre of this, okay, so it would be this size. Now this is the diameter that the ball will be, okay, so if this goes behind here, it won't come through, okay. You can see that as a ball that would not fit through there, so that's the perfect size, not too much bigger, but big enough that it won't come through, and that's the idea, that the ball is trapped inside. So that's just right for that, okay. So if that's the size you need, check it against your ring. So take your ring that you've made, okay, with your square, and then check. Now you can see this one here, this is the diameter that it would be, and you can see there it will go through that centre really easily, so it's too small, so I need to add another round or 2 to make this a bit bigger, okay. So do check with your ring and see, and equally if you've got a really tiny ring it might be too big, so if it's too big then just take out that last round and leave it at 12 stitches and you'll have a really tiny ball. Okay, so do just check, make sure that it won't come through, and if you're making this for a child, for a little child, you don't want it to be too small anyway, so I wouldn't suggest going any smaller than this. for a child, so you don't want it to be swallowed. Okay, so make sure it will fit in and won't come through. Okay, so it's going to be right for that. When it's into a ball, it won't go through. So I'm going to add another round to this. If it's the right size for you, then just hang on 1 second and I'll show you what you need to do to continue. Okay, if you need to make this a little bigger as I do, then let's make another round. Okay, so to make my next round, I'm just going to do exactly as we've done, but just increase it by an extra 1. So this will be 24 stitches. So chain 1, make 2 single crochet in your first stitch, and then 1 in the next, and 1 in the next. Okay, so this is a total of 4 stitches. Last time we had a total of 3 stitches. So it's 2, and then 1 and 1. Okay, 2, 1, 1, making a total of 24. Okay, so there's 24 stitches on my circle now. Checking it against my ring, and look, you can see that it's now a great size. So it's just the same fit with this ring as the previous round was for this one. So great size, okay? And I probably could go up 1 more size if I wanted to, just to make it really, really fit in there. Okay, but that, as a ball, won't come through. So once you have the size that you need it to be, you want to do around, keeping it the same size, okay? So you want to do a round where you chain 1 and then you single crochet 1 stitch into every stitch around. So whether you've got 18 or 24 or more or less, you just want to go around and put 1 stitch into every stitch. Okay? And that is all you need to do for the next round. Okay, when you've done your round, slip stitch into your first stitch as before. And you'll see it starts to sort of cup. It starts to sort of make sides, a bit like a bowl. It makes these tiny little sides. And that's what you want to happen. Okay, now if you've only got 18 stitches, you can stop there. If you, well, you can stop there for a moment. If you've got 24 stitches, you want to make another round of 1 stitch into every stitch. Okay, the bigger that your ball will be, the more rounds you have to do of the same size. Okay, just to sort of spread the ball out a little, because this makes part of the side for the ball. Okay, not that balls have sides, but you know what I mean. Hopefully, and especially if you've seen the Brussels sprout video, you will understand what I mean. Okay, so make 1 more round of the same amount of stitches if you've got 24. So that's what I'm going to do. If you've got 18, then hold on for 1 second and I'll talk you through the next part. Okay, there we go. There's my 2 rounds. So you can see it's really cupping now. So the next thing you want to do is secure your magic ring or your slips, your chain and slip stitch. Whatever you started with in the middle, you want to secure that now. You don't have to cut your end off, but just secure that now, because the further on we go, you won't be able to get to it. So just take your needle and secure that in the centre there before we go any further. Okay, so mine is secure now, so it won't pull open. So this is the wrong side facing outwards. So we want to turn it inside out, so, or outside. Yes, inside out, outside in, whichever way it is. We're going to turn it, flip it, so that tail will be in the centre there. And it's looking a bit like a sort of hat at the moment. Okay, so we're going to start and decrease this now. So this is kind of one side of your ball, and then we're going to make essentially another part of this, and it will make the top of the ball. Okay, so we've been working kind of around the inside. this time, because we flipped it, we're going to be working around the outside, okay? Just as we did the Brussels sprout, if you've made that. If you haven't, go check it out. The playlist for the circles is below. Go and have a look at that Brussels sprout. Very cute. Okay, so what we're going to do now is... Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is decrease this down. So if you've got 24 stitches, you want to chain 1, and then you want to work a single crochet 2 together your first 2 stitches. So excuse me, if you don't know how to do that, we're going to go into 1 stitch, yarn over, pull through and leave it there. Into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. So you've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3, and it leaves you just 1 top of a stitch. Okay, and then you're going to do a regular single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So essentially we're doing a reverse of the increase, where we did 2 in 1 stitch and then 1 and 2. We're going to do the first 2 stitches together. Okay, so we'll do the next 2 stitches as a single crochet 2 together. 1, 2, and then 2 regular single crochets, 1 in each of the next 2 stitches. Okay, so continue that around, single crochet 2 together, and then 1 and 2 regular, single crochet 2 together, 1 and 2. And if you're on 18 stitches, then just hold on 1 second and it will be your round next. Okay, when you've finished that round, just slip stitch to your first stitch as usual. Okay, and you will now have 18 stitches around. So if you were on 18 stitches before and for your ball, it's time for you to join us in decreasing yours now. So join us. So let's start this next round together. Chain 1 and then single crochet 2 together your first 2 stitches. So into the first, yarn over, pull through, into the second, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And then do a normal single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, single crochet the next 2 together, single crochet 2 together, and then single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet 2 together, single crochet in the next stitch. Keep going and you will end up with 12 stitches. Okay, once you've done that round and you have 12 stitches left, do a slip stitch to your first stitch as usual. And you should now have 12 stitches around the top. So just pull your loop up and this is what you have. Okay, so I'm going to pop this upside down just to show you. You should have something a bit like this. A bit like a deflated ball. Okay, so this is why you needed to sew your ring at the centre there, because it's hard to get to it now. Now, you need to stuff this before we finish it up. So you can fill it with regular fibre fill stuffing, or you can stuff it with a small amount of yarn. I like using yarn, especially the same colour, because it means that any gaps in stitches you won't see. You won't see any of the stuffing through it, because it will just blend in. The other thing you can do, if you have got particularly big gaps, is you can use a totally contrasting colour, so that actually that shows through and gives it kind of like a sort of mottled, marbly design, if you like. That would look really cool if you've got quite big gaps. So you'd have almost like a two-tone. But if you want to keep it looking nice and neat, then the best thing to do is use some stuffing or the same colour yarn. So I'm going to take some yarn and fill that. I'm just going to grab some yarn now. Okay, so I've got the other end of my yarn here. If you don't have the other end of yarn accessible, because I'm working one from the centre and one from the outside, if you don't, then you could choose a colour that's very, very similar, and that would work as well. So you just want to wrap some around your fingers This is how I prefer to do it anyway. Wrap some around my fingers. Keep going. Now it depends how solid you want your ball to be or how squishy you want it to be as to how much you fill it. Okay. Oops, this is getting caught somewhere. There we go. So if you want it to be quite squishy, then just don't fill it as much. Okay. If you want it to be solid, then give it a good amount of stuffing. So let's wrap this around here, and I'm just gonna tear that off out of the way. Being a nuisance. Okay, so let me see if this fits in here. So I'm going to need a little bit more, so I'm going to just make some more and then fill that. So I'm not going to make you watch me do all of that. Okay, so I'm just going to stuff this in and fill it. Now you want it to be a little over full because we've still got this very top dome part to do. So you see this part at the bottom here? We've got this same part to do at the top here. So make sure it's a little bit fuller than you think you need. Okay, it needs to be out the top a little. But when we work, we'll just be squashing it down out of the way of what we do. Okay, so we need it out of the way of our fingers. So make sure there will be enough, but just squash it out of the way for the moment so you can work around the top. Okay, so let me get the end here. Here we go. Okay, so let's start closing up this little beauty. Okay, so whatever size you started with, you should all have 12 stitches around your ball now. So we're going to take this down to 6 stitches. So just use a finger and push that stuffing out of the way, and then chain 1. And then we're going to do single crochet 2 together all the way around, taking our 12 stitches down to 6. So first 2 together, next 2 together. Okay, so that's all we're doing. We're just going to halve these stitches from 12 down to 6, making single crochet 2 together all the way around. And as I'm almost finished, I may as well just stay here on camera. I think I only have 2 more to go. Okay, I think it's my last 2. Stay here on camera so you can see me getting in a bit of a pickle. So that's some of that stuffing, yarn stuffing inside trying to come through. That's why you need to try and get it out of the way with your finger as much as possible. Okay, so I have 6 stitches here now. So I'm going to slip stitch to my first stitch. So just make sure I get the right one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first one went a little smaller than the rest. That's okay. Let's do a slip stitch there. Okay, now I'm going to take my hook out and I'm going to cut a long tail of yarn. Pull that through. And then I've got these 6 stitches left at the top, these 6. So I'm going to take my needle and thread that. I'm going to close up these last 6 stitches. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go from the inside to the outside, and I'm going to go under that next stitch. So not the one that I just slip stitched in. I'm going to go under the next one. So just here, going from the inside, outside. That's 1, and I'm going to weave around. So I'm going to go in the next one from the outside to the inside. That's 2. And then next one, inside to outside, that's 3. Next one, outside to inside, and that's 4. inside to outside is 5, and then back to this first one that we slip stitched in. So I'm going to go outside in, and then now they're all we've weaved around them all, you're going to get the end and pull it tightly to close that up. Okay, and then you just want to pop your needle through, and we're just going to secure this slightly by going through some stitches and across. These will all just disappear inside, don't worry. Okay, it's going to go over. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do is go in and out, and then I'm going to go back in the centre here, and I'm going to push it all the way through to the other side, push it down, out. I'm going to pull that tightly, and then snip, oops, snip that off, and then as it springs back it disappears inside, all secure and hidden inside. And then if it's got a bit squashed, just roll it around in your hands and make it more ball-like. So I've got quite a squishy ball here, yours might be more firm. And there you go, there's your ball that will fit in your cube of rings. You can see that's not going to go through there. How cool is that? How cool is that? So let's get round to assembling these and making it into a building block with a ball inside. Okay, I have finished my 6 squares. Now they can take quite a while to do, depending on what size of ring you're using, and also the solid rings can be a bit more hard going, than say the flexible drink cap rings. Okay, so just take your time. I mean, this being a solid ring and cotton was a bit more hard going than maybe acrylic and a small drinks bottle ring. Just take your time and enjoy it. Crochet is to be enjoyed, right? So just take your time and work it up. So when you've got all 6 made, I've just done 2 in each colour, thinking of a cube having sort of facing sides. So I'm going to have sort of each one, I'm going to have facing, so 2, and then there'll be sort of the purples, maybe 1 and 2, and then they'll be on opposite sides. So we need to attach these together. Now how you attach these together is entirely up to you. You can crochet them together or you can sew them together. I'm going to show you sewing them together because it's probably the easiest and quickest way. And when you've been holding a crochet hook in your hand, and this is how I hold my crochet hooks, you know, I hold it in this way. Your hand will have a break by holding the needle differently, and just give your hand a break. So let's have a look at how we're going to do it. Okay, so take some yarn. I've just threaded a nice chunky needle, and I am going to work in the back loops only of these, and I'm going to make a whip stitch. So like I said, you can do this however you like. But this is how I'm going to do it. So I'm just going to take the wrong sides together, and then I'm going to start in this corner and just come through that back loop. I'm going to leave a tail inside for fastening off later. And then I'm going to go through the same chain on the other side in that corner. And then I'm just going to work through by going through the stitches using the back loop, which actually would kind of be, you could kind of count it as the front loop because it's the one closest to me. And then this one's the one furthest away. So it's the 2 loops in the centre, effectively. I've just realised I'm not sure this is actually the whip stitch, but whatever it is, is what I'm doing. It's getting late and my brain is kind of having a bit of a meltdown, but I was determined to get this video done and uploaded for you, so I'm just working through those loops. Missed a strand there. See, that's what cotton does. Cotton's great, but it does have strands. Now, what's going on there? Okay, so if you can see what I'm doing, I'm just kind of working up this stitch. If the camera would like to focus and show you what I'm doing. Come on, camera. It's not playing, is it? Let's turn it over. Is it going to show you this side? No. Okay. So I have continued along this side, and this is working up nicely now. It's looking rather good. It's got this sort of dotted stitch going along there. So I'm just going to pull it tighter at this beginning end, and I'm going to pull it a bit tighter at this end, just to make sure it is nice and secure. And there we go. So that's one side. Now I am now at the next corner, so I'm going to continue around the corner just as if it was any other stitch going along. So I'm just going to continue going in those two loops in the middle there. Okay, and I'm just going to make sure that I do these stitches all a bit tighter now, because I won't be able to pull it as tight from both ends now. So just make sure they're all done a little bit tighter. And then I'm going to continue around this side. No, I'm not going to continue around that side. Okay, so this is the two sides here. Now, I can't sew along the top here because that wouldn't leave it open enough. So I need to put my top or bottom on here, okay, and sew along these two sides here. I could do all of the outside squares, but I would need to fasten off here and rejoin over here. So instead of doing that, I'm going to do 3, and then I'm going to do the other 3, okay, so like so. So I am going to pop this here, and then I'm going to turn it this way and come into this. Now I'll come out of a chain there, just check whether it's the first or second, and then go into the same one on here. Okay, just like so. And then I'm just going to continue working along here, and then I will see you when I've joined this side. Okay, so I have finished sewing these two together across here, like so. See the stitches, there we go. So this is going to be like this. So I am going to take the next square of my cube, which will be the purple, because I want to just try and continue sewing as far along as I can without fastening off and rejoining. So my next square will be the purple one, as I'm doing opposites, so the purple above the purple. So I'm going to sew along here for the purple. I'm going to continue from this corner where the pink and the red join, continue along there for the purple, like so. I shall put them together like so, and then do that. And then I will continue around, so I'll be here. So then I will take, I've got the yellow ring, so I will put that one there, and again I will sew from this corner to this corner, and that will be 5 blocks joined together like so. Okay, so when I've got those 5 joined together, I'll come back and show you how to do the next part. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what I have so far. I've got 5 of these squares started to be attached. I've got one corner, and when you're doing where 3 points join, just make sure you are joining each way across. Okay, so I have these 5 now. The way I've been sewing, I can't sew in any particular long way without joining my last circle, my last square. So what I'm going to do is join this and just tell you, when you are joining all these together, make sure you leave at least one side unsewn. Okay, leave one side unsewn, and then I'll join you to finish it all off together. So join everything up apart from one side, so just leave one side open. Okay, so I'm going to finish this and see you soon. So this is how it's looking. Great, huh? Love that, so clever. So I'll see you soon. Okay, I have all 6 sides on here, and I've got left one side open for now. So this is how it's looking. Cool, I love how it's worked up. Love it, love it. So if you remember earlier, we made this ball, and that's to go inside. So this is why we've left one side open. So pop the ball inside, and you can see here, if I bring it to the centre, that it doesn't fit through the hole, which is why I made it bigger. So it should be that it comes to the opening but doesn't quite fit through. When it's inside, it looks like it will. It looks like it will easily come through that hole, but it won't. So it makes a really cute little toy, really cute toy for a toddler. And if you put a bell in here, or even instead of having the ball, if you decide to put a bell inside the whole thing, make sure it's a bell bigger than your circle. Remember it needs to not come out, and that when they shake it will jingle. And how cool would that be? So pop your ball inside, and then you just want to sew up your final side together, and then just weave in your end and secure. And there is your little building block. So it can be used, you can make a few of these, and it can be used to stack them up as a building block, or it can be used just on its own as a kind of shaky rattle toy with this ball inside, with or without a bell. It's pretty cool, I think you'll agree. And without the ball, I think I mentioned earlier that this could be a really cool little thing for a small pet. So let me just put that tail inside out of the way. Put that inside there. So if you imagine a small pet, such as a mouse or a hamster, gerbil, it would possibly enjoy running in and out, or poking its head out of the top of these rings. I can imagine a little creature just in and out, or making it its little bed inside, taking some of its straw inside and making its bed. I can just imagine that. So you could make this for a small animal, and obviously not put the ball in. The only thing just to say about that is that different animals decide to chew. Some animals, some pets really like to chew on things, some not so much. If you decide to give this put this in your animal's cage, then just be aware that they may be inclined to to chew on it. And although if you've used cotton, it shouldn't cause any harm if they ingest it. Just be aware, keep an eye on it, and yeah, just keep a lookout really for if your pet is chewing it, and they might like to chew it and then use some of it to make their bedding. You know your pets, so just to tell you that now, I'm not suggesting that you that it's 100% safe for animals. So just a disclaimer there, you know your pets, you know what works for them and what doesn't. So this could be used however you like. You could even use it as a pen pot. You could have it like so. And let me find a pen. Okay, so I found some pens, so you could use it and just store some pens inside, and that would make a really, really cool desk accessory. You could use it as a pen pot, or what are we doing? Crochet. So you could store some crochet hooks inside. Now that is definitely cool. Definitely cool. How good does that look? So it has so many uses, and I love that. Love it. So 1 cube, many uses. Just remember, when you pick it up, they will fall through. But you could also, you could fill in the bottom part if you wanted. But yeah, you could use it as a pen pot or a crochet hook holder. How cool is that? So whatever you're going to do with it, pop your ball inside or not, and finish up that final side. And if you're not sure what you want to use that final side for, then leave it open. And then you can decide at a later date what you're going to do with it. And you could use it for crochet hooks now. And then you might decide to put the ball in, and let's have it as a toy. So up to you. The possibilities are endless. So that is something you can make with rings in a circle and making it into a cube. In the pattern, we do also show you how to make this into a triangle and make a pyramid. So not so much use as a pen holder as a pyramid, but equally good. And you can make the cubes and the pyramids to go together and put the pyramid on top of the cube, like so, as a bit of a wreath. What child wouldn't love playing with that? So I'm going to decide what I'm doing with this one. I'm not 100% sure. I might be buying a bell to go inside and give it to a small child that I know, and I'm sure his mummy would love the jingle of a bell all around the house. So I'm going to leave that with you today, and let your imagination run wild. And if you've made anything like this, then be sure to pop a photo in the group, the Facebook group. As always, the link is in that description box below. If you're not on Facebook but you're on Instagram, then use #BeyondTheCal. And I would love to see what you've made with your rings. So this was part 2. In part 1, we made the little holiday wreath. Again, #BeyondTheCal in on Instagram or in the Facebook group. Would love to see your photos. So there we go, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this week, the fun with rings, and the next project we bring you with our circles is a bit of an epic, and I can't wait to show you what we're going to make next time. So until then, just keep hooking and don't let your tea get cold.